What are your impression interacting with the people once again after some time ahead of them?
I would have liked to even revise the question, because you monitor you cover, or you have covered much of the outings. I'll just ask you, what is your observation? Because when you are dancing in the village square, you can't assess yourself. But if you insist, I will say that I have been quite excited to see the warmth of the people. Across the T local government areas, I mean, people are extremely warm, they are excited. I see me after 4 years, and for me it's like, what more will I expect from a public office other than to govern a place for 8 years, to go back there after 4 years, having been succeeded by a governor who had turned hostile, who tried to destroy my legacy and even lie effortlessly on a variety of issues to give me a bad name, to find that the people are not fooled at all. And they have very fond memories of my time, my style, and so on and so forth. It goes beyond the physical infrastructure, social infrastructure, all of the things that we did that I remain proud, and the people are apparently quite appreciative. But even the human touch, the recognition that you are just another guy down the road, that God has favored using people to be a governor, which is very transient, and that there is life after it. You know, everywhere I go, I mean, when I see elderly women, I can notice them from the crowd saying, hey, look at it, yes. And I can see the joy so walking towards me. So, I mean, it cannot be better. I am so fulfilled. So fulfilled. And I'm happy that I'm able to join the candidate, Pastor Zeyamu, you know, across the T local government, across the 192 ward. And beside the fact that, I mean, I enjoy doing that, to support him, that it also helped me to also renew my bond with the people of Edo State, and I find it extremely exciting and fulfilling.
Your candidate and your party is contesting against the sitting government and absorbing the power or assumption of the power of the president. What are the chances of the APC and its candidate, Pastor Oshiomhole, in this election?
Now, incumbency can be an advantage, it can be a liability. When a governor has performed, then you can use the slogan, tested and trusted. When a governor has failed woefully, like Obaseki has failed woefully, he's tested and failed. And it's not difficult. I mean, my problem with the media is that you don't report all that you see, you edit yourself out. Otherwise, I'll pose the question to you. In all the rallies you have attended, when the question is put to the people, do you have a new school in your neighborhood? The answer is always no. And there's always cry, we do not have teachers. A royal father told us he has 2.5 teachers. Now, I captured that because of the way he put it. And we are like, 2.5 teachers, how? He said, because there are only 3. One is the principal, the other 2 teachers. One will retire in December. And if Obaseki remain as a governor, they will be left with 2. So on education, 0. You can't teach people without teachers now. And he lied effortlessly. And essentially of the media indulge him when he talks about Edo Best. He even pay for plastic award for people to give you plastic. How can you be Edo Best when a governor has closed the College of Education, where teachers are trained in a formal, structured, academic manner? And you are using consultants, some of whom have never taught. They have no teaching experience. and you pay those consultants 1.5 million per teacher. If you want to read Bachelor of Education, University of Benin, you will not need 1 million for a 4-year degree program to be able to teach. So all those are just fraudulent things that I'm shocked Obaseki has got himself into. You've heard people saying, we have had no light for 4 years. And Obaseki goes to those communities like Ilusha and say, I know you have no light for 4 years, but if you elect me, in 3 months I'll give you light. And people are like, so you can fix it in 3 months, what you have refused to do for us in 4 years. And they just laugh at him. He went to Igor, tried to play divide and rule, and saying, I think that was the headline in your Sunday paper, why I fell out with Oshiomhole. It's only now I'm hearing him for the very first time. He alleged that I sold a market. But because the way the media takes stories on their surface, he gets away with it. Otherwise, the journalist will ask him, particularly if the journalist is not compromised, to say, may we have evidence of this deal? Because to sell the market is not a verbal transaction. He is the governor. I challenge him to produce the document showing that I was involved in the sale of any market, not just that market. And then he goes on to try to play ethnic sentiment, which I found very unfortunate, by saying, I want to, not being from Benin, I do not like Benin people. Obaseki saying that. And that I'm trying to use that word, to knock the head of 2 Benis. So when he contested against Yamu 4 years ago, I hated the Benis. That's why I supported him. I could have easily supported Anisha Man. So when a man goes into such divisive primordial sentiment, you know that he is bankrupt in every material particular. He went to a place in the Banke, part of Oshiomhole local government. The governor of Delta State tried to help him. You know, where Confucius sets in, you know, even rational people begin to act in a manner that they think they are smart, but the political consequences and interpretation are damaging. The Delta governor has to send bulldozers or tractors to grade 1 or 2 roads in Igbanke. Igbanke is in Edo State. Okowa's wife is from Igbanke. So see the condition of the roads. He has to send tractors to go and do grading of the bad portion of the road. And Obaseki went there to campaign. Very fortunately, it rained. And the road was not passable. You know the problem with Art Road. And he now wanted to drive through the road that I constructed. So there are about 10 roads in Igbanke. I did 8. The one that was left, which he ought to do just to complete, was 1.2 kilometers. He didn't do it. Since I left, he has not been to Igbanke. So when he went that day to pass through the graded road by Okowa, he couldn't make it because it was mushy and, you know, heavy rain all night. He now tried to revise and drive through the tied roads that I constructed, and the youth blocked him. They blocked him. I said, no, go and pass that place. It takes a completely failed government, like that of Obaseki, for another state to help you do grading, something that a local government is expected to do. And if you look at the books of Oshiomhole local government, you will see where governor purportedly approved for the grading of roads, but that money was taken and paid to a private account. He thinks he's smart, but I find that he's very dull. Dull upstairs. A state government, another state government, coming to help Obaseki to do grading of 1.2 kilometers of road. Because that does not require consultancy, it doesn't require MOU. You've had the women just day before yesterday. Again, the media cover up. And it's dangerous for the media to be covering up bad governors. Because you can't turn around later to say Nigeria is failing. You saw market women at the Tiosa market protesting. They blocked the roads. Why were they protesting? They expected you, the media, to convey it. They were protesting that one. Their market got burnt. Obaseki didn't visit there until 2 days later. It wasn't emergency enough. People's means of livelihood, women, their market got burnt. And then he promised that when he finally got there, that he will rebuild the market. The women said, allow us to do some temporary structure. I said, no, he's going to build a modern market. He has not built the market. He also promised he will give them 100 million naira to support them as a partial compensation for what they have lost. And I know the federal government, Oda Buhari, sent some relief material to those women. Obaseki did not redeem his promise till today. Neither build the market, nor give the women 100 million. That is why they were demonstrating. So it's an incumbent liability. If it was an asset, no party will throw away an asset, even though he has issues with his qualification. The racket as to how you could get admission to University of Ibadan with 3 credits without English and Maths. It remains a mystery which the court will unravel. PDP sued him before. Out of time, we have sued him within time. So the best thing that have made our campaign easy is that it is not a contest between 2 strangers. And people have to try to imagine who should they believe. It's a contest between a city governor, or if you like, an MOU governor, as it's now fondly called, and another person. Incidentally, these two had contested against each other before. And they've only changed the political party platform. But remember, talking of incumbency, that even with my support for Obaseki then, he got 300,000 vote plus. Izeyamu got over 200,000. Now Obaseki is an orphan. He's not an indigene of PDP. It's a marriage of convenience. He procured a Zimbabwe dollar ticket that has no electoral value, with all the uncertainties arising from the certificate racket, which is before a federal high court. It is not APC that forced him, it was PDP. But for PDP tax collectors, as my very good friend, Wike called them, and I like to believe Wike. Even when he hit me here, you notice I don't reply him because he's my good friend. In politics, you can exchange some friendly fireworks. But he told some hard truths. You join a party today, but tomorrow you are the aspirant. And everybody was forced to step down. Because Obaseki cannot afford any form of contest. So now he's going to face election for the very first time on his own. Have you noticed, if I ask you, where is the domain of reputation that is with him? There is no outstanding Edo man who, in any of the rallies, whether at local government level or world level, that say, this man, on my honor, I believe he deserves our vote. and then reel out. He himself, you'll be here. You are a veteran in not just in journalism, in this state. You are familiar with all the actors. The power of incumbency is when a city governor begins to roll out what he has achieved in the critical areas, because Nigeria is still basically at basic needs level. People simply want roads in the city. The rural people want roads to connect the rural economy with the urban areas. They want good schools with qualified teachers to teach, so that even though their parents are poor, the child will have the opportunity of upward mobility, which can only be achieved through education. He has built no schools, employed no teachers. Closed are the School of Nursing. Closed are the College of Agriculture, both in Benin and in Agirimbode. Reduced the subvention to Abusali University from 270 million naira a month I was giving to them when I was governor. He has now reduced it to 96 million. That's about 1/3. As a consequence, the university have been borrowing to pay salary. Last month, no bank was willing to borrow them, and they defaulted the salary. So like the other institutions, Abusali could close if Obaseki is re-elected. So it's so easy to defeat. You can call him a city governor. I'm saying an outgoing governor. Because now the reality are down on him that it's not paying television hosts or paying some funny newspapers to give you awards of no value at all. Today, let me talk slowly. Were you with us at a place near University of Benin, in Bowo, when a man said, I have been in this city for 31 years. He said he was shocked when he saw what Obaseki is advertising as a beautiful, well-equipped Benin Technical School. He said, when you see the way they post on television, you will not imagine, you will think this is a wonderful place. He said, go there. What they are showing on telly is a 3D simulation. You go there, that is not what is on ground. And even the road to access the place is a problem, the man said. So you can see that the combined power of a compromised television stations cannot affect the sentiment of the man on the street. So for me, this has been the most easiest election. What we need to say is, have you seen Obaseki presence in your area, in education, in healthcare, in roads, in water? Those are the most basic things. Even agriculture. It's taking so much money on behalf of Edo farmers, which was never paid to them. And they ask you questions. You ask of Sobe Farm, where he claimed to have sunk 2 billion naira. We went to Sobe, and we asked the people, where is the farm? It's just a joke. The area is very good at is getting all these consultants to generate documents, not the original anyway, just change the address, and then change the signature, and then lift one or two things, paste it, and you have a blueprint, MOU, consultants are paid. There is no better way to steal public funds than through consultancy. Because it's a willy buyer and a willy seller. It's not something you say, this is the standard price. He inflated it. And that's what he's been doing. He has not employed new teachers since I left. As Professor Agbolaho, see, he has become a victim of his own, this thing. Professor Agbolaho was chairman of 6 eminent professors from University of Benin that are empaneled to conduct interviews so that we can recruit teachers without political interference or without any corrupt practices. When I stumbled into that lady who could not read affidavit, when I investigated, I realized it was the outcome of corruption and unfair use of patronage, where politicians appoint their friends or party supporters as teachers, or the Universal Basic Education Board or Post-Primary Education Board, through corrupt practices, sell appointment letters. To deal with that factor, we paneled these professors, and they generated over 50,000 qualified applicants who passed the examination. I would say we'll be taking from 98, 96, the cutoff point is 60%. That document I handed over to him as I was leaving. The report was submitted. So he has a ready basis to employ people. Obaseki says he has employed 200,000 people, 150,000 people. He even got a newspaper to publish that, one business day. And I know Frank very well. Do you know the best way to check is to look at those who are on payee? Has the number increased? So when you paid to get an editor to write a story that is not true, he doesn't change the fact on ground. Like the gentleman said today, he said when he sees those things on television, sees them on channel television, he said, oh, this must be another state, not Edo. So this is the easiest campaign.
So, considering the relationship we had with Obaseki for the 8 years with the government, and now, do you think he hid his true identity or what happened? Because you campaign for him just like we are doing now, and that's how he won, based on what you have done and promised continuity. What happened? Was it that he deceived you or he wasn't open to you?
Well, it's a simple thing. You can never vouch for the character of a man until he has money and or he has power, or both. Then his true identity comes out. Obaseki didn't believe in the development agenda of Edo State, but he successfully pretended for 8 years. Because otherwise, the Benin City Water Store Master Plan, how could any Benin man who sees the flooding problem of Benin City abandon that project? And you know what happens now when it rains. Go to Welu area. Again, I don't know whether you were with us today at Welu Spare Part Market. Oh, you miss. You should have been there. You won't see anybody wearing face cap. So they are not party members. They are just voters. And they narrated their story. But their market got burnt. Obaseki came there after the fire incident. He saw the grief on their faces. And he promised to help them to rebuild the market and also to give them some money to at least restart their businesses. They have not seen his brake light since then, they told us. So they can't wait till the 19th to deal with him with their PVC cards. I think Obaseki is just like a proverbial debtor who thinks that tomorrow is far. Now, if you ask me what went wrong, simple. And this is the truth. Obaseki did appeal, I'm sorry I have to mention the name, to Dangote, that he cannot stand politics. He hoped I can help him to run the politics. And I said, I will be here all the time. I'm going to relocate to Abuja because if I'm here, people will be running to see me, seeking favors. I don't want that. I don't want to be a burden. I want to maintain an excellent relationship with my predecessor. And the only way to achieve that is don't channel people who are making requests whether those requests are about appointment, they are about promotion, they are about they have been dismissed, it's about contract, it's about payment for service, whatever it is. So we agreed that once in a year or once in 6 months, 7 of us, the governor, his deputy, secretary to government, chairman of the party, secretary of the party, the political advisor to the governor, and myself. And the other was that these people working with him, they will assist him on day-to-day basis to deal with the political environment. But where they have issues they could share with me, I could intervene to assist him. That was it. We had the first meeting here, in this room, 7 of us. And they told me, that is the SSG, the deputy, and the party chairman and secretary, told me they have 2 problems. The first one is that all these jobs is giving them to people who are not residents of the state. People he know or he knew while he was in Lagos and other places. They give example that even small things like MC to officiate in an official function, he contract it to people who are not from this state, who do not live in this state. And so the young men and women who were following us, who were introducing him during the campaign and all that, they are like, so they are no more useful. And they gave me an example of the MC that officiated 2 days earlier during the Alarudaro first anniversary. That the guy came from Delta, he didn't know the politicians, he didn't know the protocol, and he mixed it up. And yet you have the young boys who are, if it is comedy, you have comedians here. People who manage those functions, they are all here. And they all work for him. Some are employed to work for government. And he abandoned them. Somebody showed me a menu card and said, look at this menu card for lunch. And I said, what about it? I thought the problem was the selection of food, whether it is rice, amala, eba, or whatever. He said, no, look at the last line. I looked at it. He said, you see, printed in Port Harcourt. I didn't quite readily get the point. He said, now, you see, when he was campaigning, there were printers in Benin who were printing his posters, printing the leaflets, the billboards. Now, as a governor, there is no good printer in Benin. It's Port Harcourt that they printed this, and he believed the contract must have been done by his wife. This is somebody, a printer, showing me this. And they told me some of the party leaders boycotted the interdenominational service because they said, let this consultant come and pray for him. They will not. Including Osaro Ida, who is his political advisor, because I asked, Osaro Ida should be able to advise. He said, no, even himself is aggrieved that he did not attend the, he didn't attend the interdenominational service. That's what this is serious. He has not constituted the boards of companies. So those who work are saying, after victory, only 2 or 3 people are in government. The governor, the deputy, and the secretary to government. So what about themselves? So we sat here and I advised. Number 3, they said, what gave us more popularity in this state was the most basic thing, education. You are from this state. You know, however small a village is in Edo, they will have a primary school, or both primary school and a secondary school. Our people believe if the government will not give the school, they will build what they call community primary school or community secondary school. So since I left, the red roof, the idea of building new schools top, even though he collected the money from Universal Basic Education Board, UBEC. And because he's not building schools, the small contractors are complaining because they normally handle those jobs. I'll give somebody a contract to do VIP toilet, and his complimentary card is more fanciful than the MD of a multinational company. You write there, government approved contractor. So I sat with him here along with the 6 others, and I said, Your Excellency, these are the complaints, and I think you do well to begin to look at them. Because the beauty of building schools is that, from my experience, it's a win-win. You give it to a local contractor because they are not complex civil engineering work involved to build blocks of classrooms. Even if it's a story building, it's a simple civil engineering, which most local contractors can handle. Now, I should award this contract to them. They, in turn, recruit bricklayers, carpenters, tilers, woodworkers, etc., etc. And then members of Tipper Drivers Association, they have jobs. Supply granite, supply laterite, supply cement, molding or buy cement, blocks. The painters have jobs. And the ceramic tiles are made here in Benin. The iron rods for the columns, they are made here in Benin. So all of that money circulates here. The only one that go out of Benin is the money for the long span aluminum, which we normally buy from Delta Aluminium Company. So, if you like, it circulates within Bendel. And so, when people say Oshiomhole has turned a door to construction site, because in every ward, we award 192 school contracts. So in every ward, there's a construction work going on. And Mama Put will spring up in the villages, in the neighborhood, to be cooking for those who are working. And then the boys and the girls have jobs to do. I said, that way, you keep people busy, and it's a win-win. Economics is not rocket science. It's largely common sense. That way, you generate tens of thousands of jobs. Not jobs out of pity, demand-driven jobs. You know, they are not like this. We are going to take you, 10,000 people for 5 months so that they will do something. We want to keep them busy. No, these jobs are really required. And he said, well, he needed the first year to settle down, to carry out some studies. Some consultants are looking at some things for him. You know, okay, I want to use consultancy, but I don't need the consultant to tell me that this school without roof, without window, I need to rebuild it. The only consultant I need are 2. The architect to design the school, the quality surveyor to do the costing. I don't need more than these 2 paperworks. The rest is physical. So I don't think I need Mackenzie to come and tell me that, you know, you need a school here. When the school is already there, just that it has failed. All right, he's the governor. In his time, he needs to do it in his own way. That's fine. Now, I can tell you, I was elected July 24th as chairman. The secretary to the government told me when they come to Benin, we should have a second edition of that meeting and have mid-term review. We're getting to 2 years now. You know, so we met, I think, in August. The second year was to end November 12th. We had that same small meeting when they came to Abuja, which coincided with around the period of primaries for National Assembly elections. And they gave me the short list of the things that are not in place. And even more worrisome is that they told me, as it stands, if he doesn't address those things, we may lose the election that was approaching, particularly in Edo South, because people are really, really grumbling. Okay. They gave me the list of the items. We had a meeting. I mentioned them one by one. It included, still, he has not started building schools. Still, he has not employed any teacher from the list that we already compiled. He hadn't constituted the boards. He still collects money from UBEC, but he's not constructing any school. The Central Hospital remains closed. He's not seeking borehole in any community. As we speak now, I don't even know where the borehole rigs are. 3 rings that we bought that can, industrial borehole rigs. And other sundry complaints like that. So they told me they've discussed with him, they've asked people to submit lists to consult the boards, to submit the first list, the second list. When they had the third one, people say no. Now it's like they are just deceiving them. So there is real discontent. And they fear that even our own party members might sabotage us if that situation persists into the election. So we had a meeting. I look at the note, which was prepared by people working with him. And one after the other, I mentioned them. I said, Your Excellency, these issues are more or less the same as the issues we discussed during your first anniversary. Now, by next month, you will be 2 years in office. And you still have not addressed any of them. So, point blank, between me and you, let's be honest to ourselves here. If we go into this coming election, we will lose flat. And particularly in Edo South. So because in Edo South, their expectation is higher. Because they rightly feel that if a governor who is not from Benin City by indigenship could do 6 lane on airport, could deal with the Mami water at teacher's house and construct 6 lane there, could introduce street lights in Benin and empower them with generator or however we did it. Build a model hospital that everybody can see. You can't deny it. Even if you hate me to pieces, it is there. So they expected that my successor coming from Benin will even do more, particularly when he was working with me. And so the shock, when for the first year, nothing, going to second year, nothing, was huge. So I said, this is the time to change gear. And that is where Obaseki got angry. He then asked the people who brought these things, okay, deputy, say something. Is that correct? Meanwhile, the deputy was one of those complaining. Party chairman, okay. Everybody would say, it's not as bad as that. We agreed something, maybe just a little bit of time. So I told Obaseki, I said, now you are in trouble. When you intimidate your appointees, I said, because you all here, you are the source of this information. You only asked me to help, to raise them with him, because you believe it might take me more seriously than yourselves. But because of his reaction, they are now saying, it's not as bad as that. I said, we will lose the next election. These things are not rocket science. I'm not carried away by sponsored editorials and sponsored columnists. There are too many hungry people in town, and there are so many newspapers. So anybody can pay to get anything out. First, I don't know how many people who read them, but even those who read, when they compare what they read to what is on ground, they are like, these people are compromised. Yeah. So I said, Obaseki, you don't need to get angry. You are my brother. What I owe you is to tell you the truth. How are you going to campaign? I wish I recorded that conversation. I said, if you go to Ovia, Let's start from Edo South. You have not built a school in Ovia. No primary school, no secondary school. And they have a lot of schools that are down. I built quite a lot, at least 2 or 3 in each ward, but you need to do much more than that. In Ovia Southwest, what have you done? Now, in the heart of Benin, I understand you are doing some roads. I've actually quieted driven routes of places, but I noticed that the quality of those roads are different from what we promised Edo people. Because we said, standard, every road must have sidewalks. It must have side drains. Any road without drain is going to fail. They say it's a rich man who settled for inferior goods because he can afford to repeat it every time. But when you don't have enough resources, do one thing and make sure it is properly done, and it will last for a long, long time. I'm proud to say, and check it out, all the roads are built. Look at Airport Road. Have you seen pothole there? Except where he organized boys to do bonfire, which was very unfortunate. Otherwise, the road is just, because beneath this Airport Road is a huge drainage that evacuates water from adjoining streets down to Ogba River. So I said, some of those roads, people tell me that they are already failing, that they don't have drainage, not to talk of street light. So, but assuming the roads are good, 200 meter, 400 meter, 500 meter to connect the major roads I did, the adjoining street, to connect them. That is not the reason the man in Ovia is going to vote for you. Because most of those guys don't come to the city. But even if they do, they are going to look at their own area. Where is your presence? The same question is valid for Nwunde. You are a journalist. You were here when Obaseki went to Nwunde and said, when he was fighting with Charles Idausa, and I was trying to settle them, that politicians from Nwunde have only helped themselves, those who call themselves leaders. He was attacking Charles Idausa. That he had decided to become the leader of the party in Nwunde because he comes from Nwunde. He had declared Nwunde a special development areas. Here, everybody clapped. Go to Nwunde. He has not done one road there. And it's 4 years now. Now, I went to Nwunde 4 days ago. We met with the traditional rulers. The one from, they told me that the one that comes from where Obaseki was, he called his ancestral village, like my own village. The Enoge there was coming to Benin to see Obaseki. He had an accident and died. Obaseki didn't even go there for a condolence visit, they told me. Nothing and absolutely nothing he had done in Nwunde. The traditional rulers there are unanimous. The people are unanimous. He was going to campaign in the world headquarters, I think Ward 9, last week. They said when he saw the road, the condition of the road, he told them, no, this is a farm road. He made a detour and went to Ugoneki. Ugoneki Road is the one I built in Nwunde. He has not constructed any road in Nwunde. So the people said he abandoned them. They already cleared the school premises for him. But he couldn't face the villagers. So, how will Nwunde people vote for him? These were the issues I told him. And I said, unless you change your ways now, this IMAC that I introduced in 2012, that don't believe anybody, if it's a city governor, is seeking renewal, you must say, what have you done before you tell me what you want to do for me tomorrow. And watch Obaseki's campaign, he talks about what he's going to do as if he's not a city governor. You are the one talking of incumbency. He doesn't see himself as an incumbent. If he is, how do you go to a place and say, I know you don't have life for the past 4 years, but if you vote for me, I will give you life in 3 months, which means right now you are not even governor. So that is the story. And whether he likes it or not, God is there. I gave her Obaseki honest advice. When he wasn't listening, I called Dangote, a mutual friend of ours, and I said, advise him, these are the problems. And 3 of us had a meeting. Even this hospital, I had to do that advert, documentary, to show that the hospital had been equipped. And our friend told him, you can't build a facility like that and close it for 2 years. The warranty is running, whether you use it or not. And those equipment are very sophisticated equipment. And when he said he was waiting, he was looking for consultancy to run the hospital. And the man said, I don't care how you want to run it, but you don't need 2 years to look for consultants. So that is something that ought to win us. For the man told him, people going to that hospital and looking at it and say, oh, this is done by APC government, Oshiomhole. Oh, we'll vote APC. So people just have a fixation based on what a government has performed, particularly when his face and my face are seen together. But he didn't see it that way. That's why I had to do that advert. So people, observers should have noticed that I said, I am compelled to do this advert because of the opposition. I didn't want to mention. So, nothing personal whatsoever. But why was I so concerned? I was so concerned because when we introduce him, most of the people say we don't know him. And I have to say, don't worry, you will get to know him. His style will be different from my style, of course, because our background is different. But the mission is the same. He will do school, he will do it, and himself said the same thing. He will continue with the project we started. He has abandoned all of them. The university at Edo University, he has cancelled the subvention completely. All the buildings are abandoned. Just like even the Ogbemudia College in Benin, that Buhari came to commission. If you play by those pictures, President Buhari completed school. The children have not been allowed to move into that school. The children are still in the same old, dilapidated buildings. Even though they were moved to that school and there are furnitures, that is the place he's using for consultancy. And then the hall, he uses it for state functions. Edo people are not allowed to do weddings and other things that we used to use those schools for, to generate income. Even to first round the Ogbemudia College, he hasn't done it. Because that is the part I couldn't do before I left office. Just to first round it. And they use that field as a playground for students for football or whatever. So, God knows I just raised these issues with him in good faith because I don't want my party to lose an election. Only God knows how much effort we invested to take Edo out of PDP. And as you can see, since 2008 that I succeeded other God guardians to achieve that. God did that for us. Even with the power of incumbency, we have not been able to claim any new state from Niger Delta. So for me, whatever I needed to do to assist him, I was going to do that. So, talk of betrayal. This is the betrayer. Betraying the dream, the promise of continuity. Not for my good, for the good of Edo State. And if anybody wants to dispute it, it's simple. I can count how many 6-lane roads I did. Akpakpaba is 6-lane. New Lagos Road. You know, we have to write, this is BB by Edo State government. The one to Obawo, we did extra service lanes. Of course, airport road is obvious. Then Upper Siloko Road, from Oba Palace to Siloko, Siloko to Upper Siloko. 6 lanes in an area where they thought that even a narrow road was impossible. because of the Benin City water storm, as we were working on it, we were able to deflow these areas and therefore construct a standard road. Drive there's no pothole on it. So for me, these were the issues, and they remain the issues. But you will notice that I had huge difficulties. How do I publicly criticize a governor, an APC governor, particularly when I had become national chairman? So all I could do was to advise him quietly. And where he wasn't listening, to get another friend who I thought he would listen to also encourage him. But I can't go out to say my governor is not performing. No.
So in the course of your campaigns recently, unfortunately there was an incident where your call was for an accident that led to the loss of lives. So but there's this twist to it that it was an attempted, or it was targeted at assassination, or targeted at you. Can you throw more light on that aspect?
No. To be honest, I think it is a natural accident. This is my personal view. When I read those stories that attempted assassination, I said, no. It is true that there might be people who may wish me dead. There's no question. Even you. You'll be surprised that there are people who think, why Ali? Why should you? You know, but thank God we are not at the mercy of anybody. I don't think it was assassination attempt, no. I think it is the usual recklessness of our drivers. Because we were going to Ovia. I was coming from the village. I have to leave early. And we agreed to meet at Oluku Junction. And as we approached the junction, we had to park. So we parked off the road. We are parked off the road. And then this trailer coming from the back hit, because my car, there were about 4 cars behind me. You know, he hit a car that hit the car that the policemen were in, and the policemen flew out of the impact, and then a trailer claimed to have lost control, went out of the road, and smashed those 2 policemen. And then in the process, one of the cars came and brushed because I had already opened the door of my car to come out. My orderly too. So if you look at the car now, you see that the 2 doors are completely damaged. Thank God it's a treated car. Something else could have happened, because just stepping out one more foot, God forbid, my enemy would have been gone. So I believe it's a natural accident, but if anybody thinks it was planned, that is not my conclusion. But I pleaded with the policemen, because to see your colleagues, because usually, you know, I have a chat with those who work with me. I had a chat with them in the morning. I said, now we are relocating to Benin. We're going to be in Benin for a couple of days. So as my comrades, we're all out of station together. So everybody should just do his bit. In the next 2-3 weeks, this thing will all be over. We chat like that, a good spirit, and we started. So to see their bodies, I could see the police men feeling, oh, my colleague, oh, my colleague. They could have just killed that driver. I had to plead with them, don't. First, that will not be right. But 2, we don't know what caused this, because I was in front. I don't know what happened behind me. Only those, and because they hit from the back, none of us can give a good account of how the driver veered. The driver simply said, I lost control, I have no brake, my brake failed. That was he said his brake failed, he lost control. I told the police, what you need to do is to thoroughly investigate. Don't waste him, don't kill him. While I went to call the road safety to come and check what happened and find a way to jack out the trailer to remove the body of the 2 policemen. I know it was a horrible thing for somebody to see his colleague being wasted like that by a reckless driver, or so it seemed. So I don't think it was. It is true there are many people who, I mean, the entire PDP system, you are being in this state. In every election, it's me they abuse. During Obaseki, it was me. Now it is me, because they will never forgive me. How did that small Adams, as they said then, he has no money, he has no connection, he doesn't know politics, he's just a labor agitator. How did he manage to take Edo from us? They can never forgive me. So if you look at the election of 2016, you will think I was on the ballot. This year, you will think I'm on the ballot. They will never, and I'm proud that God used me to demystify them. So the fact that some of them who may wish that I never existed, I do not think that that particular incident, that it was assassination attempt. I don't think so.
Still on the campaign, sir, I know the team is taking toll on everyone. And there's this issue of what you said 4 years ago about the current candidate of the APC, and what is playing out now. How do we reconcile that? Is it not, people are some people are of the opinion that is what is the issue? That what you said?
No. It's a lazy argument. You know, people have recycled this. It doesn't make sense. I'll just give you one example, and that's my reply. We always talk about, when I say we Nigerians, we are fond of saying we copy the American model of presidential system of government. General Powell was a Republican Secretary of State, loyal to Republican to the core. He was appointed by a Republican president as Chief of General Staff, Chief of Defense Staff in the U.S. system. He's known to have supported the Republican since he retired from U.S. Army or military. Twice, he has found himself endorsing a Democrat. He supported Trump. Now he's backing Biden. And his reason is that his expectation of the Republican president has not been met. In the circumstances, Biden will be better. That's how it works. So those who want to be detained by what I said, which was also based on what I was told by those who prepare arguments for us, it's not an issue. What about what I said about Obaseki? That he will build more roads, he will do more schools, he has not done them. What about what Obaseki said about me? You have not seen the tape? The day of his inauguration. What did he say? I will forward it to you so you can repeat it. I'll play it back to answer this question. What he said about me then, is that what he's saying about me now? You will think that he's the first governor of this state. So, I think that is an overflogged question that it doesn't merit elaborate. The important thing is, I am not supposed to campaign for someone who is not on my party platform. I don't know when last Vanguard newspapers, with all due respect, you advertise Punch as the widest circulating newspaper in Nigeria.
Never.
I haven't seen that in Vanguard.
Never,
I guess you have your views about some other papers. But you will always tell us Vanguard is the best. And it's my Vanguard. It's our Vanguard, the people's Vanguard. I mean, that is the truth. Yeah. I mean, I have a long relationship with Vanguard.
I want us to talk a bit about your tenure with National National Office. went there, you got so many innovations. How do you feel the abrupt, unexpected termination or solution of your?
The Bible says, live every day as if it will be the last day. I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. Live every day as if it is the last day, because you never know when the last day will be. So you call it abrupt end of that tenure. Maybe that is how God planned it to be. And I don't grudge at all. It's not my father's right. It's not my birthright to be chairman. It was a privilege, a huge one at that. If it lasted one day, so be it. But I do not regret a minute any of the decisions I took. I wanted to show that the office will not change me. I would rather change the office. I don't try to just fit into a stereotype position. This is how, like when I was governor, people say, I know as a governor, I should use, I have fine suits, by the way, well-knitted Italian suits. And I had this debate with my colleagues in the NLC. What would be my official dress code? And I said, what would be my official dress code? It's the same khaki, because that has become my identity. It tells a story about my life, about my very, very modest upbringing, family circumstances. I started work as a factory worker, and we wear uniform. And I wanted to make a statement that from wearing uniform, you can become a governor. When you become governor, I still wear the uniform, so that those who wear uniform should never feel inferior. When I see people commenting about, oh, he used to wear khaki, I work in the textile and garment industry. I was the general secretary. I'm supposed to teach people how to dress, at least to encourage more consumption of clothing and garments. Right? So if I look and I dress simple, I do so cautiously. As a public officer, I should be seen as someone that anybody can interact with. I don't want to divorce myself from my past. So when a factory worker sees a governor wearing khaki, it gives him hope that wearing that uniform is not a statement of inferiority. Because even the governor is wearing it. So why not him too? That is how I feel. So,
as we get 9 days to the election, your final message to the electorate in those states, and what would you say to assuage this fear that there could be violence in the election? The final message that assuaging the fears of people.
Well, I believe that there will be no violence. It is a pity that most commentators have made that a big issue. But also, the commentators derive their takeoff point from comments made by the governor and the deputy governor, and even lately, the wife of the deputy governor. The governor has started about a year ago saying, and you were in that press conference at Government House when he said, and I quote, the governor said his second term is non-negotiable. According to him, he deserves it, and he earned it, and he will have it. Now, that itself is a foundation for violence. Because if it is non-negotiable, it means nobody will contest against you. So when people now decide to contest against him, he holds the view that it is his fundamental human right to remain the governor. So how dare you challenge him? So that lays the foundation for that undemocratic pronouncement, laid the foundation for detention. The second is, again, the media. I was coming to Benin, I was on my way to the airport, and I got information that they are sending talks to the airport. No, that was the second one. The first one was, I came here at the invitation of the Oba of Benin to see him. And when I went out in the night, I was advised by my orderly that some people have arranged trucks of thugs, and they are throwing stones at my compound, into my compound, shouting all kinds of slogans. And I'm like, why? It didn't make sense to me. I said, what have you? They say he called the police. By the time I got home, I met close to 100 policemen. And they told me yes, but they've dispelled them. Okay. Till today, why they wanted to do that, I don't know. Because I didn't know that people feel so bad then. And the same policemen that came to my rescue when the thing became public knowledge, the commissioner of police shamelessly denied that there was no such thing. On the contrary, he claimed, and it is true, he gave me more than 25 policemen to escort me to Oba's palace and back to the airport. So the question is, why will a Nigerian citizen require 25 policemen to escort him from here to Oba's palace, less than 7 minutes drive? Those who were involved in that exercise, I got their names. I did a petition, ordered my signature. They were invited. Some of them confessed. They have video where they recorded, they were boasting how they came to my house, what Igbo Stone and one other, few others. And the police let them off. And I said to the police, this is how crime starts. Then the next day the next time I was coming to attend the burial of Honorable Aboima, the burial of his mother. On the way to the airport, I was told the talks are at the airport. Obaseki has said talks that he did not consent to my coming to Benin. And I called the CP. The CP said the matter is under control. By the time I got to the airport, the CP called that I should rather stay away because the talks are too many. And I said to CP, but these are the names I've been given of people at the airport, the leaders of the talk. He said, yes, it's true. I said, why would you get rid of it? They said the governor has immunity. I said, if the governor has immunity, the talks do not have immunity. He said, but why don't I just stay away from Benin? I said, to stay away from Benin, CP, you are joking. I'm going to come to Benin, go and do your job. And I'm recording my conversation with you. You have a duty to protect lives and property. And the airport is a sensitive place. How can you allow talks? And you agree you know the talks that are at the airport. Why would you arrest them? Anyway, I came down. On landing, he called again. Please don't call. I said, I'm already on the tarmac. I'm here. I was shocked to find that the entire airport road was blocked, with police supervising the blockage. And they were making bonfire on the airport road, destroying that beautiful road. But I came down with the aid of Air Force personnel, and they guarded me, and police later came over to take me around some streets. It took me an hour and a half, instead of 7 minutes, about an hour and a half to get to my house. I went for that function, I came back. Then my attention was drawn by my security people that they blocked the two entrances on the street to my house with Waste Management, Edo State Waste Management Board vehicles. I called the IG. IG, I'm under siege. Can you help me out? IG directed the CP to intervene. The CP sent more policemen and came by himself. And I was sure when the CP said, the then CP, not the correct one, that they went to see Obaseki, and he said, yes, he ordered the blockage because he does not want me to hold any political meeting in my house. That's why I blocked the access. And they are pleading with him to get the vehicle towed away. They have to beg the governor. And I told them then, I can see Obaseki lay foundation in his naivety, with due respect to him, in his naivety. He thought that by taking those harsh, undemocratic, repressive measures, that it will scare me and other people from ever asking questions about his second term or anything that he's doing wrong. In the event, he forgot my background. So, again, if Obaseki has immunity, those who drove those trucks to block public road, they've committed an offense known to law that the police should have enforced. Arrest those drivers and prosecute them. They were never arrested. Nobody was arrested. They begged the emperor to please tow the vehicles away. He didn't do so until I managed to find my way out of the state.
One was being set on fire.
Then in the night, they set one on fire near the transformer. And their calculation was that the transformer will explode because the transformer is close to my house and my enemy could be affected. Again, nobody arrested. Then many people complained when they dropped an explosion in Egbeneki's house in Benin, at the residence of the party secretary, at the office of the former Attorney General, and 5 other party leaders. Explosives. This is not to add to the ones he destroyed. He used bulldozer to destroy their hotels, who had got to court, and the court was to deliver judgment on a Friday. By Wednesday, he sent bulldozer to level the place. A 32-room facility was leveled, and it was a political meeting in that hotel. Now, all of that lay foundation for the tension that people are talking about. The governor is on tape, on record, and now the world is so sophisticated that nobody can escape. The media cannot kill any story. It's beyond you. So you Google it, you will find where Obaseki was threatening that if I come to Edo State without permission from him, he will deal with me decisively. He will tell me he's the executive governor of this state. He said so. So now I needed a visa. So if Oshiomhole national chairman can be harassed like that, then the lesser animal, what will become of them? So this lay foundation for the much talked about tension. About 4 weeks ago, again, you can still get it on Google, on channel television, I watched the news. He said, if they want violence, I will give them violence. I will tell them, I'm the governor of this state. When the governor says, if you want violence, violence for violence, what do you expect to follow? And who was he talking to? He was talking to his dogs. And talking about mischief, a mischievous reporter from Vanguard decided to ascribe those words to me, thanks to Google and YouTube. I have to call your publisher and your editor. And I'm happy that Vanguard, in line with your tradition, corrected the story. It's Obaseki that said so, not me. Not done. About 2 weeks ago or 3, check YouTube. Obaseki said himself and his deputy are the only 2 people who have immunity in this state. So any other person, no matter what he was before, I know who he's referring to, regardless of what the person was before, I will deal with him ruthlessly. Then the talk say, you will give him wait and see treatment. Say, yeah, he look like this, left, right, left, right. So when the emperor talks like that, he lays foundation for this station. But my problem, these commentators, including media, I challenge you to show anywhere I made a violent statement. In all our campaign, I said, people, there will be peace. We are going for the white chalk to celebrate. We don't want blood. I say so everywhere, and I will keep saying so. Then, a day after we went to the palace, you heard what the Oba said. Say, Obaseki, call your deputy to order. All this army of talks. He spoke like the royal father that he is, without fear or favor. And the following day, the wife of the deputy governor, check it on YouTube. People are circulating it now on WhatsApp. She said, she was talking to women. Most of them far are mother's age. He said, I've said they should take your photographs, take their pictures. If I see or have report that any of you associate with women on the move, that's a political movement that is supporting Eze Yamu's wife's campaign. The wife of the deputy governor said she will whip them, she will personally flog them. Those are her words. So when people write about threat to peace, is it too much for the editors and the reporters to quote who has made a violent statement? You see one person slapping the other, you say stop the fighting. You don't say that. Fighting is when you box me, I box you. I challenge Vanguard and I challenge any newspaper to reprint, if it is electronic, to air any statement I have made that borders or threatening violence. But even when I went to Jetu last week, I said, well, that is where we come from. I spoke in our language. I told our people, I can't imagine the wife of the deputy governor threatening women of my mother's age that she will flog them if politically they disaffiliate from her. That's a violent statement from a woman. And I told the people, I said, you don't need to shout back at her. She's talk of flogging. You will use your PVC to flog her mercilessly on the 19th. That is the most potent koboko for bad governors, for bad political office holders. PVC, very dangerous weapon. PVC. It doesn't kill, but it takes arrogance away. It takes power away. It neutralizes. It's an equalizer. It can throw you up. It can bring you down. And I urge the women to use the PVC to flog Obaseki's government out of power so that we can have peace. Because let's face it, most of the analysts are commentators because people are sponsored here and there. You have been in this state. I met you here in 2008. And I left you back. Edo people, have they changed? They are the same people. Have we not had, as a governor, we had about 3 elections. Was anybody hospitalized? Did we have this kind of tension and negative commentary before the election? It's the same people. When have Edo people become violent? The only thing that has changed is that the governor now is not Oshiomhole. And the governor now is not Lucky Benidio. And the governor now is not Osumbo. The governor now is Obaseki. He's the one that talks about, I will crush anybody who dare me. That's how he talks. In democracy, you go to crush those who disagree with you. So we have a crusher as governor. But again, the PVC will crush him on the 19th. Peaceful crushing, peaceful, non-violent crushing by PVC and ballot papers, by Edo people who are anxious to restore the state to a state of peace and tranquility. Appeal to the Edo electorate is we should not be provoked. They must allow themselves to be provoked. Election is not war. Election is not a do or die. And whatever we do, only one person will emerge. Only the living will be governed. And I think here, Jonathan's statement readily comes to mind. No political office is worth the blood of any person. And I believe it will be peaceful. This is the city, this is the state of one man, one vote, one woman, one vote. We launched that campaign, we sustain it, we operationalize it, and we have had free and fair elections. No election has been revised in this state since we launched one man, one vote, because they have been credible. This coming one will not be different. So I'm personally very appreciative for the warm reception I receive everywhere I have gone to. And I'm sure, Aliu, if you want to tell the truth, you're also full of envy when you see how people are reacting when they see me, because they have good memories of what I've done while I was here. I didn't fix all the problems, but I did show that some of these problems can be fixed. So thank you very much.